This story is from 1996 when, in a remote area of China, archaeologists found such a pyramid which was actually an electric power plant made by ancient people 150,000 years ago. Welcome once again to the videos of Discover TV. Viewers, this is beyond our imagination. When electric current was invented in the 18th century, how could someone build an electric power plant millions of years ago? It's just like someone making a car before the invention of petrol, or a smartphone before the invention of the telephone. Today, we will learn about such discoveries made in China that are only possible in today's world, but were actually built thousands of years ago. First, let's talk about Tibet. The Tibetan Plateau is an autonomous region of China located north of the Himalayas. Here are the world's highest mountains. That's why it is often referred to as the roof of the world. In 1937, an archaeological expedition took place in the Tibetan mountains, led by archaeologist Kaipote. Inside a cave, they found 716 granite discs, most of which were buried inside the cave. Each disc had a diameter of 9 inches, was 1 inch thick, and had a perfect 1-inch hole in the center. Upon cleaning the discs, it was found that strange, unreadable characters were written on the edges. These characters carved into the stones were written about 12,000 years ago. But it wasn't just the discs that shocked the archaeologists. They also found an advanced map of stars drawn inside the cave, and several small-sized graves containing tiny human-like skeletons whose heads were unusually large. To truly understand what had happened there, it was crucial to decode the characters written on those 12,000-year-old discs. After 20 years of trying, when the puzzle could not be solved, the stones were handed over to Professor Samum Nui. The professor researched them for 4 years, took help from the tribes living in the Tibetan Plateau, and finally succeeded in decoding the characters. These writings were inscribed by a local tribe 12,000 years ago. It mentioned an aircraft that came from the sky and crashed there. It also described the surviving beings from the crash, whom the tribe referred to as the Dropa. These 716 discs also stated that at first, they hid in the cave out of fear, but then realized that the Dropa had not come with any bad intentions. They couldn't return and thus began living there. Samum Nui published his research in 1962, but it didn't receive much attention. 6 years later, the story began to circulate again, but this time in the Soviet Union. When Soviet scientists researched the discs, they found high quantities of cobalt and other metals, some of the hardest metals found on Earth. Due to these metals in the graphite, the nature of the discs was extremely hard, making carvings on them using the tools available 12,000 years ago nearly impossible. Later, these stone discs were kept in China's Banpo Museum. In 1974, an Australian engineer visited the museum but was denied information about the stones. Then, in 1994, when two German scientists visited the museum to see the discs, they were told that the Chinese government had destroyed them. But the most important question still remained: if the story written on the stones 12,000 years ago was correctly decoded, then what happened to the surviving Dropa? A year after the discovery of the stones in 1937, that is, in 1938, a survey was conducted in this area of Tibet. Two tribes lived there whose ethnic features anthropologists found to be very different from other Chinese, Mongol, and Tibetan tribes. Their skin was yellow, their heads unusually large, and they had very little body hair. Their height ranged from 3 feet 6 inches to a maximum of 4 feet 7 inches, almost exactly the same as the skeletons found in the cave. So now the question arises, could they be the descendants of the surviving Dropa from 12,000 years ago? Even today, a tribe lives in the northern Tibetan Plateau known not as Dropa, but as Drokpa. Though their height is like that of normal humans, the Dropa stone discs are not present in any museum in the world today. Though there is no concrete evidence of the carvings or the Dropa story, one thing is clear: 12,000 years ago, they couldn't have carved on such hard stones using the tools mentioned in human history. Clearly, they must have had tools far beyond our imagination. Now let's talk about another discovery made in China. In 1996, Chinese archaeologists found a pyramid-shaped mountain that was 150,000 years old, with evidence inside suggesting it was an electric power plant at that time. Yes. In China's Qinghai province, south of Lake Toson, lies Mount Baigong. Inside this mountain is a cave where archaeologists made this astonishing discovery. Inside the cave, many pieces of iron were scattered in the soil, along with some strangely shaped stones. The story took a twist when they noticed iron pipes going inside the mountain. It was found that the cave wasn't natural, it had been constructed, and the mountain wasn't actually a mountain but a pyramid that had lost its original form over time. Initially, the entire scene was very confusing. The more scientists tried to understand Mount Baigong, the more questions rose. When the Beijing Institute of Geology researched the iron pipes, it was revealed that they were not made 510 years ago, but 150,000 years ago. There were pipes of various sizes. Most had a diameter of 18 inches, while some were as small as grains of rice, and some so large that a person could pass through them. Scientists couldn't understand how these pipes were made millions of years before the Iron Age, who made them, and why. There was no clear purpose for these pipes. Yet, 260 feet away in Toson Lake, similar pipes were found, both above and below the water level.
Some researchers believe these pipes were used to pump water into the pyramid. Further research on the pipes revealed that 30% of them had rust inside, supporting the theory that water flowed through them. Now, since Toson is a salt lake, one theory suggests that the pipes were used for electrolysis, a process where electric current is passed through water, splitting its molecules into oxygen and hydrogen. Adding salt accelerates the electrolysis process because salt water is a better conductor and Toson Lake already contains salty water. The hydrogen produced through electrolysis is highly useful, especially as a fuel. Additionally, silicon dioxide, normally found in quartz, and calcium oxide, known as quicklime, were also found inside the pipes. These are extraordinary materials. When pressure is applied to quartz, it generates electricity, known as the piezoelectric effect. Experts believe that as water flowed through the 18-inch thick pipes, its weight generated electricity via the quartz. Note that the pyramids of Egypt also have large-scale aquifers. Similar pipes of stone and metal have been found in the Giza pyramids too. Famous scientist Nikola Tesla also built the Wardenclyffe Tower based on these principles. Using this ancient method, Tesla believed he could generate free electricity and transmit it anywhere in the world. But just when Tesla was about to complete his project, investors pulled out and put their money into oil instead. The quicklime found in Mount Baigong's pipes produces heat when reacting with water, but when water is removed, it returns to its original state. This means Mount Baigong had all the evidence of being an electricity plant. Pipes were used to pump water, quartz to generate electricity, which split water into hydrogen and oxygen through electrolysis. Quicklime created pressure with water, increasing the electricity generation. From all this and the 150,000-year-old metal pipes in Mount Baigong, it's not hard to conclude that ancient civilizations were extremely advanced in their methods and engineering techniques now lost in history. We hope you'll like and share this video from Discover TV as well. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next amazing video.